Motion to accept the minutes for August 19th, public and non-public, August 26th, public and non-public.
No,
Oh,
August 26th, just.
Oh, just non-public, sorry.
Second.
I'm in favor.
Official report.
Yeah, I'll start. I went to CIP meeting this week, and our plan is getting closer to something that we can present to the board. We do have some questions, and we do have some more gaps. And one, I have a question right now from Buildings and Grounds that maybe you can help me answer. Are there any plans to deal with any issue regarding the rec field drainage that you know of?
Well, we had that woman coming, and we haven't heard anything more from her.
So we don't have any estimates of cost, we
No.
don't have anything right now. Playground structure, do we have any plans for a new playground structure?
Not really, I'd like to add some more to that funding as well.
Well, it's gonna be, we have it listed here as an estimated cost of $15,000 to $30,000.
Easy,
And a time frame. We don't have a time frame.
no,
So, would 2 years out, 3 years out?
yeah,
About 3 years out.
3 years up.
Okay. And, a skate park. There's no plans for a skate park. That was just somebody bringing it up at CIP saying it wouldn't be nice.
We had one before.
We had one
We
before.
had one that Mary McDowell, was behind, the asphalt one.
Yes, I was never, she ran ahead with it, and it was
Yeah.
never really fully planned out, because
Yeah.
to have a roller skate park, it needs to be a lot bigger than
Yeah.
that little area.
They have a nice one in Lebanon.
Exactly,
So
yes.
something like that.
Yeah,
So there's nothing in the works out right now. What about paving the basketball court? That's something we tried to do
A
several
few
years
years
ago.
ago.
We kind of got nuked.
Yep.
And that was about $5,000 then, so
Right.
we could put that on the docket, and I'm not gonna pile things up to pay for next year. So this would be a few
right,
years
and
out.
that's the thing that I have a problem with, putting too much.
I don't wanna put too much, because
No.
we're gonna have enough as it is.
Right.
So if I put that like 4 years out, maybe?
Yeah, I'd like to see it sooner than that.
We're getting a response from our requests. We don't have them all, but as you can see, we have a lot of things listed on the spreadsheet, and they're color-coded, so, and then we have to prioritize them. So, and we're trying, it's hard to do because some of the members come and they want everything ASAP,
Right,
and ASAP is not possible.
right.
So we have to plan it out and maybe even get help with grants and things like that, so that when we present this to the voters, after it goes through the planning board and the selectmen, it makes sense and it won't. Because we have a lot of needs in town,
Yes, we do.
and we have a lot of wants in town. So we're trying to separate those a little bit so we can plan. Planning's a hard thing. Sometimes I think it's a dirty word around here.
Okay.
So anyway, that's where we stand, and hopefully we'll have something that we pass along to the planning board and to the select board later on. So that was a CIP meeting. There's also a fire department meeting a couple days ago. Yesterday. Seems like a long time ago. It was on Labor Day, which was yesterday, so we had that. And my takeaway from it, the biggest thing was Grafton Palooza. No plan, nobody knows what's going on, and it's a recipe for a disaster. This guy Ethan Smith never come before the board. The board's never granted permission for this thing to happen. Nobody's asked. So,
But I did come from the board because Leaf brought it up and I brought it up.
Leaf brought it up. When Leaf brought it up, you talked about it, but
Right.
nobody came to the board and said, can we do this? And what, you know, and had a
I
plan.
think yesterday was the first time Mitchell's, this past week was the first time Mitchell's heard about it.
Yes,
There needs to be,
You had no cops gonna be there.
yes, we do. I've already talked with Mitchell.
there's gotta be a police detail there. That
Yes.
means you have to hire a cop.
No, we don't.
Yeah,
You do.
You do. You have to have
They
a
do a
detail.
police detail.
They're like $90 an hour.
Yes.
Like $1,000.
And then if you have, you don't know how many people are gonna show up. You know, if you have 17 bands bring 25 people apiece, that's 425 people. So you need a police detail for that. If they bring 50, then we're gonna have close to 1,000 people there, and we have no plan. No plan for emergencies, the ambulance department's freaking out too, and Mitchell has not heard about it. As of, I was talking to him this morning, maybe he said last week's the first he heard, and he didn't even think it was happening.
I have talked to Mitchell. I have talked with Alan for months. Alan came to the rec meeting 2 weeks ago. So you go to a fire meeting and say that the fire department knows nothing, but Alan came to the.
He did, and he didn't get any answers there.
He most certainly did.
I didn't get much for answers.
You got answers.
Chris?
You got, we have it under control, I think was the answer.
Yeah.
And it's not, it's out of control. And this guy Ethan Smith, do you have a contract with him?
We don't need a contract. Why do we need a contract?
Well, I mean, it's gonna be a disaster on the rec field. Who's gonna be responsible for cleaning the stuff up?
Who's gonna pay for the police?
Who's gonna pay for the police? Who's gonna pay for the bands? The band's coming and playing for nothing? We have no idea.
How
what
many
the
cops
plan
you
is.
have going there? 2? At $1,500 a day for the. How long is it? 12 hours?
No,
Noon to 11.
no,
That's what it's posted for.
What we're posted for now.
12 to 11.
no, it's not starting until 1 o'clock.
Well, then you need to change their posting.
You look at their poster, it says 1 o'clock.
Well, online it's now 12 to.
Well, I don't know about online. I know the posters say 1 o'clock.
They don't say anything about no alcohol.
No alcohol, no drugs. You got a bunch of bands coming from Mass, which they're gonna have drugs on them, guaranteed. So 1 to 11 is what, 10 hours?
1 to 10.
So 9 hours. $810 per cop. You guys are gonna be paying to have Mitchell, Kamen, and if they need another cop, that's $2,430 you're paying just on security.
So, it would have been nice if Ethan came to the board for permission to do this, because if something goes wrong, what are they gonna do, sue the rec committee? No, they're gonna sue the town. And who's the town? It's not the rec committee, that's when the Teflon kicks in, and it'll come right on our laps. So I would like to have some assurances, and I'd actually like to meet this guy who's putting it on. Does he have insurance? We don't know. We don't know anything about it. And so this is going to be a major event down there. We don't know how many people are showing up. And like I've said before, if it's like Independence Day, not a big deal. But these are bands that are coming from afar. You know they're going to bring some followers with them. And I would imagine they have to be paid. So at $5 a head, there's not going to be much revenue generated. And the ads say that all the vendors they get to keep all their proceeds, so there's no revenue coming from them. So like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I could say that it doesn't sound good. And if I were to vote, I'd vote against it right now. So, I think Mr. Smith should come and see the board and try and straighten some of our questions out, and that would be appreciated. And so, we talked about that at the fire meeting. That was the prime, and this has been percolating for several months. I've been going to the fire meetings, it gets brought up, ambulance, the same thing, and and the police. It's all our safety people that have to go out and answer to any calls that happen, and if they're not included in the planning, we're expecting a lot of them to be able to respond. We have trouble responding with our ambulance as it is. So if we have a special event, and it's not gonna be like Independence Day, I don't think, where everybody's local, it's gonna be people following their bands from Nashua and Gardner, Mass, and Worcester. And I looked up a couple of these bands, and they all look legit to me. And one thing they have in common, one word I would say, they're metal bands. So I don't know what kind of crowd that brings in, but it's gonna be loud, you know? So, if the selectmen are holding the buck, then we'd like to be part of the planning. And I think the rec committees has totally left us out of it, just in the dark, you know? And, you know, we've made a big fuss about the library coming to the board to ask permission to use the library lots. And I know there's been a lot of back and forth about that, and, you know, maybe we were wrong in some areas and maybe we weren't, but what's happened now is we know every event that the library is gonna have on that grade. And so for that, I appreciate it. But with the rec committee, I know it's the rec field, but it doesn't mean the rec committee calls all the shots. We still are the selectmen, and we still have authority over our properties, and we're the ones responsible, so. That's how I feel.
I'm following right with Steve on this. This is, what, September 11th?
October 11th, so we're a month and 10 days away. We have another meeting in September, so maybe we can have a meeting with Ethan Smith, and he could explain what the plan is. Because right now, I don't see a plan. It even says on the Eventbrite, what's that, where you go to sign up for it? You can park at the fire station. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But it says it right there, and nowhere does it say no alcohol, so.
Oh, we made that very clear.
But it's not clear on the posters, anybody coming up, it's not clear to. So, that's a big issue. And you know that people are drinking on the slide on Independence Day anyway. So, when they're coming up from Massachusetts, I don't know what'll happen, but, there could be a lot of drinking, they could expect to be camping, and I know that there's no camping. So it's just issues we need to clean up, and it's almost a month away, so we need to do that. I guess that's all I have for my official report.
Did you got anything?
No.
Library just went over their programs they're doing. Nothing serious. Shouldn't really. Alan, you wanna come up with your dispatch stuff?
Yeah, just.
Alright. How are you?
Pretty good, how are you?
Good, thank you. Forgive me, it wasn't folded.
That's okay. We have the technology.
I sent it to the printer today, I was like, please have it done in time. So,
Keep going from the Lakes region. Lee,
hey, how are you?
Steve. And we got Sarah on the end, secretary. As you know, we've been doing a lot of radio testing, and we've had problems with getting the firefighters out and some of the ambulance personnel on call. It's been going on for actually years. I've asked Hanover to try to help us out, and they tell us it would cost $90,000 for another antenna up.
And that would be their antenna somewhere, or an antenna they want us to put up here?
Right, antenna they would help us try to buy a grant or
So
something
that we can put it on our,
on our own property. But it's $90,000. You
yeah.
can't find no advance for it, and he can't find no advance for it. Then he complained to me once, it was gonna cost another $9,500 a year phone bill. So that added to that, so. To solve the problem, we've been doing a lot of testing with Lakes Region, and it seemed to solve all our dead spots. And they deal with just ambulance and fire, not the police. And all the firefighters at the meeting last night, you heard them.
Yes.
they wanna make the switch.
They, you got some radios from Lakes Region, brought them over here to test them, and I had the person, or
Yep,
the person who lives in this spot that never gets a signal, even when Hanover was good, never got it at home, said it was loud and clear at their house.
yeah, John Dodge the same way. So, and we had an incident here a while ago where I'm still on Canaan, had 5 calls, 4 calls in Canaan, 1 in Grafton, I didn't get a 1. It's not good if you don't, chief don't get it. And Buddy McDowell didn't get it, John didn't get it, and Heather didn't get it. So, I'd like to make the switch. I'm gonna let the chief speak about the place, went over and visited with him, and
So what is wrong with our antenna not tall enough?
our antenna's not even hooked up with Hanover, once the station. It's coming off the antenna up on Griswold Hill. So it's just not bouncing down here. They should've, they got a grant years ago to increase all that, but none of that money came this way, see. They went to recon,
Grafton is in the shadow,
yeah.
shadow of the signal.
And we're doing a lot more mutual aid with Denver and Alexandria, which all be on the same frequency. We all be dispatched at the same time. There's more help going that way for us than there is up the valley because they're further away. The
Yeah.
London's dispatched their own, but they said they were already on the road to bring their ladder truck with 5 guys.
Okay, so, the ambulance, we're talking about fire and ambulance going to.
If
Lakes
the
Region.
ambulance wants to go, I think it should go if anything.
Yeah, and the, Hanover does the ambulance, and they also do the Canaan ambulance. Would that be a big problem?
No.
If they're on 2 different systems?
No, because right now, infield is covered by Hanover, Lebanon does their own. They dispatch infield ambulance, then Lebanon dispatch theirs, then they sign on to Hanover go. Which would be the same way down here. If nobody answered on Grafton, Lakes Region would call Hanover, and Canaan would just sign on to Lakes Region. So there's no, do you guys all work together?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is, you know, we wanna keep our resources within the mutual aid district, we wanna keep our resources together. Ideally, we don't want Grafton unless we have the ambulance and the fire department,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Because what makes the mutual aid district what it is that we hit buttons and dispatch ambulances or resources. We don't make phone calls, it's not, we do on the, you know, the fringes of the district because we have to, you know, we go, if you think of, you know, Barnstead, right? A lot of their mutual aid comes from Pittsfield, Concord, from that area. But we call in a Concord fire alarm and say, hey, we need, you know, Pittsfield, we name the 3 vehicle, 3 resources we need, and we get them. So, you know, there's some of that, right? We do the Rumneys now, we do Alexandria, we do Danbury, we do all of those communities. Part of what we try to do is we want to do dispatch for the right reasons, right? We want to do the mutual aid coordination for the right reasons. Not because it's cheaper, not because it's more expensive, not because you do or don't like somebody, but for the right reasons, right? And we're contiguous with Grafton now through the Alexandria and those guys. Everyday mutual aid, if you will. So that part makes sense, but it only makes sense with the ambulance and the fire department. Long term, you know, are there other opportunities for expansion? Of course, but for now, we would just be looking at you guys. I still need to go through. I want to understand kind of where your concerns are for everybody, not just the chief, but everybody. And then at some point, then I would go back to my bosses and say, hey, this is kind of where we're at. What do you guys think? We're in a unique situation right now. I don't know how much the chief had told you. We're co-located in Laconia with New Hampshire 911. We're in one building with them. We've been there for 20 plus years. And they're building a new building a half mile up the street that we'll be moving to next August. So we're good. You know, it's financially and everything, we're all set with that. But there's, as I had said to the chief, I can kind of tell you, and I was working on my 2026 budget today. I'll be able to tell you what it would cost you in 26 when we do the budget. I'd be able to tell you what it will cost, would cost you in 25 if you had been on the, joined in 25. I can't tell you what next year would be versus, the year after, because it all depends on the budget. The budget, the way we operate is the budget is evenly split, if you will, amongst all the communities. So there's a fixed factor that's automatically divided by 35 communities. With you guys at it, it would be 36 communities. There's a call factor, there's a valuation factor, a population factor. So I can't, all those things are in flux every single year, right? So I can give you an idea of what it would be this year. I think I gave that to you, Chief. When the 2026 budget is done, either you're gonna be with us or not, I'd be able to give you an idea of what it would be if you weren't with us. And then from there, the way that the mutual aid district works is the membership of the district would have to say, hey, we want Grafton to come into the fold, so to speak. We have a board meeting September 24th. I have a executive committee meeting on the 16th. So the 16th, I would talk to the executive committee. 24th, I would talk to the full board. That's going to be the first read of the budget, but it's also going to be the time where I'm going to explain to them the upfront costs to move to the new building. A lot of that's going to be cash, and some of that will be a loan, but a lot of it's cash. I don't know what they're going to do with Grafton, right? They could say to Grafton, yeah, come on in, or they could say, well, it's $35,000 per community is what it equals to get it, that we're paying to do this new building. Take that total number and divide it by 36 instead of 35. So there's still some gray areas in how this transition would work. And we had talked about that. We had talked about with the chief some onboarding costs. I'm gonna have to have my staff do. We have a computer-aided dispatch CAD system. It's state of the art, but it takes some work to get to the place where your streets are there, your water supplies, all of those types of things are in the computer system. With that being said, I understand that some of the biggest concerns is the communications, the radio side of it with Hanover. And the easy answer is Hanover should put an antenna here, or a tower, or whatever. And I agree 100% with Doug. In the interest of full disclosure, the director of communications in Hanover, myself, it's a small business. We're all friends. And I had talked to him about it, and the answer is, yeah, sure, it's $90,000 for a transmit receive site. It would be the same thing for me. The difference is today with my existing radio system, my radio guy has mapped it out, and it appears that we can do it without any additional infrastructure, which is what Chief Gold's people are seeing, carrying a page around. They're seeing the results of, we can do it today. Would more infrastructure help? Absolutely, right? The more infrastructure, the less dead spots. I suspect we'll find some dead spots at some point, but it sounds like with today's infrastructure, it is a better talk in and talk out than what you're experiencing with Hanover. The next step I would like to see is some radio tests going out.
Right.
Portables, mobiles. There might be an opportunity to put mobile repeaters in some of your vehicles, right? If portable coverage coming out from here to us is where the problem is, and even if that's the problem from here to Hanover, mobile repeaters might be the answer. As remote as you guys are anyway, mobile repeaters probably should be the answer, at a minimum on your new truck.
Right.
But
the biggest thing is the pages, nobody just getting the calls.
yeah, and the deputy and I wanted to, we wanted to come out, kind of meet you guys, see where your thoughts were, see if you had any questions. Next step from there for us would be, paint the picture of my executive committee and see what they want to do.
Okay. So, you were talking about the ambulance and fire go together. What about the police? Where would that leave them?
They would stay with Hanover as far as I know. Yep.
They have repeaters in their cars, they're not
So
like
they don't have the same issues.
They're not the same issue because it's the pages, we aren't getting the calls is the biggest issue.
So would that cause confusion with Hanover, or I'm just thinking out loud?
No, I mean, we work with Hanover and Grafton County anyway. We're from Winnipesaukee north, there's very few fire dispatch centers that are fire only. I think we're actually the only one, fire only. So we work with those guys all the time. We do 35 communities, 1,800 square miles within the state. So I mean, we have to talk to pretty much almost
Yeah.
every county except for Coas
You're
and
basically
Stratford.
in the
and
heart
Rockland.
of New Hampshire, being
Yeah.
Laconia.
I often say, you know, we have the largest stretch of Interstate 93 of any dispatch center, and we're in the most heavily recreated portion of the state. There's, you know, people are recreating all 4 seasons where we are. It's not just skiing, it's not, you know, so we're well equipped and well prepared for that. You know, the staff that we have, one of 3 accredited training programs in the state, and one of a handful in New England, New York, and New Jersey. The deputy, myself, all of our staff were involved locally, regionally, and nationally, you know, in industry groups, whether it's meetings and planning and standards writing. And, you know, my staff does a really good job at what they do. I'll put them against anybody. But and I'll put the resumes against anybody and what we offer, but what it comes down to is what's right for you guys. I don't know what you guys pay Hanover today. I don't know what that cost difference would be between them and us. The numbers that I had given you
About the same.
off the top, and I don't remember what they are off the top of my head, but that would
You
include.
figure around 25, that's what it is Danbury.
Okay, so
And
that would
that's
include your
what, 30
ambulance
Hanover this
and your
year.
fire.
You know, so, cost being equal, I mean,
And getting reception.
reception reception is the most important thing to me, but then we have to consider cost too,
Right.
because,
So right now, I think Hanover's 30.
yeah.
And I don't know what that delta is, right? If they're 30, is that police, fire, and
I
ambulance?
think it's paramedics, police.
You know,
Police
so-
isn't that much compared to the rest.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what
We
Doug's.
have to take a breakdown of all those
Yeah.
figures so we can.
I think it's like 36,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if you
For the
remove,
3.
you know, is it 36,000, is it 12 each?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Or if we pull
I'm
two
sure
out,
it's not.
if we pull 2 out, does the other one go up? You know,
Right.
Well, we got away from dividing it between the 3 departments.
that's how we're doing it, is in the
Before,
budget.
and now it's all just one,
Okay.
Does it come out of like your executive account?
It
Yes.
comes out of
Yeah.
Selectmens.
Yeah.
because we just got a bill this past week for 16, and we had already paid quite a bit before that.
Yeah, so I mean, some of those things, like that wouldn't necessarily be us, you guys would have to figure out that side of it. I can continue, and as soon as I get my 26 numbers done, I can give you, hopefully by the end of the week, I'll be able to give you, if the board is okay with this budget, this is what your number will be in 26. You know, but that number won't get passed by the board until October 30th. So September 24th is the first read of the budget. The board meets our board meets quarterly, our executive committee meets monthly. So the board, much like you guys there, the Board of Selectmen for the district, passes the budget. But the third quarter and the fourth quarter are like September and October, only because we don't get our health insurance numbers until October. So the numbers that I give the board in September are the numbers,
Yeah.
unless they get completely upset about, you know, if health insurance goes crazy, they might say, you gotta figure something out, or however, they've never really done that.
Insurance can tend to do that.
Yeah, and I've seen it go backwards, and I've seen it go up 10 or 15%, you know, like anything, we use Health Trust, I don't know if that's what you guys use, so we're at their mercy.
Yeah.
The other thing that I was gonna ask you, Chief, is what do you have for hazmat team coverage?
We have one out of Hanover, Lebanon,
Okay. So,
the team up there.
part of the district gets you the Central New Hampshire hazmat team, it's part of the cost, so. We chose years ago, a few years ago, the team used to be funded, it's a joint venture between us and Capital Area Fire, which is Concord. It used to be funded on grants and shoestrings like everything else. Both districts, probably 5 or 8 years ago, decided to start supporting the team financially, and we have a formula that we use to split it. Our share in 2026 will be $67,000 for the team. Our board made the decision a few years ago to divide that equally, so I can't remember, you have to take that number divided by 35 or 36, and that tells you what your number would be for hazmat, but it's part of the total number that I give you. And the reason I point that out is, Capital Area puts that number, whatever their cost is, they put it through their formula. So the way the formula works, as I said, with all the valuation and everything, say it's $1,800 for the hazmat team for Grafton, cool. That $1,800 is the same for Grafton as it is for Laconia. Versus if we put it through the formula, that $1,800 becomes, $7,000 for Laconia and and $68 for Grafton.
Right.
And the board made the decision, because it's the right thing to do for everybody, and everybody has an equal risk of hazmat. You could debate the city versus Grafton, obviously, right? But there's still tanker trucks full of methyl ethyl awful stuff driving through here every day. So the board made the decision and said, we're just gonna divide it equally amongst everybody. So, you know, they try and really do what's fair for everybody, and sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it helps the big towns, sometimes it helps the small
both
towns.
ways, yeah, or can.
Yeah. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you guys have any, and see what you wanna do with this.
Yeah, well, I know the reception's been well out here, and I guess, you know, the next thing to me after that is the cost, and so that's something that we can get later, and what impact it would have to Hanover if we are, you know, scaling back, is that we have to keep the, you know, the police in mind, and you guys don't do the police, and I don't know if our police department would want to switch from Hanover. So that's part of it.
Yeah, they don't do it.
Their only choice would be Hanover or Grafton County, would be
I
mine.
was Grafton County.
Grafton County.
What's
They
their
don't
own cost,
use
right?
Hanover, they use Grafton County.
Grafton County,
It's not gonna have an impact on the other. Okay.
No.
So you got that question.
No, so your police department's dispatched by Hanover.
Yeah, okay.
Their choices would be
Because
Hanover or
before-
Grafton.
Each department had their own.
So those two work together all the time, because they do police and fire.
Okay.
They're part of the Twin State Mutual Aid District.
Yeah, my thing would be, right now,
This
cost.
is the cost, because you're gonna have two separate costs. You're gonna have the police versus fire and
And
ambulance.
we're just coming into our budget season too, so.
Yeah.
Everybody is.
The other thing,
Time to have a talk.
It is the time to have the talk.
the other thing is, you know, like I alluded to before, we have mutual aid with Canaan. Does this, is this gonna have a,
No.
because you know, we have those other issues going on with Canaan now.
Right.
So when I went over to meet, like, it was mentioned.
with the ambulance and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, the dispatch, so I'm just wanna be careful that.
I do know the
proceeds-
past meetings, Chris will already tell you also that they've been talking, they want to go to Lake Street down the road,
Mhm.
because of 118 being split.
Yeah, yeah,
Romney.
Canaan's split with
Rumney
Romney.
does half, 118 and Canaan does
So
the other half.
Rumney's on Lakes Region,
Yeah.
so and Canaan is on
Hanover.
so it would make sense for them to go.
So that's, I got a feeling.
And it sounds like it's Lakes Region that can hit both areas,
Yes.
because I doubt it.
I haven't mapped out any further into Canaan, than the 118 area now, but.
I heard you in Lebanon the other day.
Yeah, I mean, our system's
When you're on your
pretty
antennas.
robust and pretty redundant. You know, we don't wanna get involved in political quagmires either. That's, you know, as I said, we try and do the right thing. It's not always the best for our business, so to speak, but as long as it's the right thing, we wanna do that. And we don't want, you know, people are mad at people for doing something, we don't want that. And we just don't wanna get involved in that stuff. I remember saying to a chief years ago, if you're coming to us, if you want to come to us for cost, then we don't want you, right? Because it's not about cost, because if it's about cost, then we're gonna have this discussion in 3 years or 4 years or 5
You
years.
can have it every
With
year,
somewhere
right?
else.
Somewhere
We want
else.
people to come to us because of the culture of safety, the level of service that we offer, and all of those types of
Yeah,
things.
and that's
Notification.
what it should be.
You know, understanding that, and the chief knows, I live in the southern portion of the state, the deputy lives, in the Baltimore Meredith area. I'm gonna put 3 tanks of gas in to get here today, so when you have a fire in the middle of the night, I'm probably not coming, right? The deputy may come, it depends, you know, what she has going on, but part of our benefit is that, you know, we can provide some of that scene support at the scene, but understand where a ways out.
Second alarm usually, right?
Sure, yeah, it can be anything,
Yeah.
but, you know,
Propane tank roll over, something major like that.
those
yeah.
big things, they're gonna go on for more than an hour or two,
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
And we still have access to, I just noticed this isn't the absolute updated one of these that happened, but, you know, we have the 2 cars, we have a shelter, mobile sheltering, trailer that we can use with ours with HVAC. You can use it, not that you wanna use it as a morgue, but you can use it as a morgue, you can use it as heat and shelter. You do a ton of different things with the equipment that we can roll out. And where the value comes in is we have access and knowledge of all of those resources throughout the district.
You do. You're a lot bigger departments that way.
But again,
Yeah.
you know, we do Bristol, so we support them as much as we would support you guys.
Well, that sounds pretty good. It's something that we're gonna have to talk about. And, you know, the most important thing is the safety, and if we don't get the call, then we can't respond. You know, and if that's part of the problem that we have with the ambulance, I don't know if it is or isn't, but I know that we have trouble responding. Some of it could be because we're not getting the message.
People aren't getting the message.
Yeah, so,
I know that's been, we went over to the Grafton County meeting, and that's one thing Kathy said, now people aren't getting the pages. But she's kind of for it, now she's against it, I don't know what she wants at this point right now.
yeah, but you know, you get used to the same thing
Sure.
for years and
Change.
years and years, so change is hard for
Sure.
some people.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big part of it too.
I'm looking out for the firefighters getting a call to get out there.
Well, I think that's a good thing, and you're coming
Safety.
with a fresh set of eyes too.
Yeah.
So this is a problem that we have that I think that we need to address, so.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
just, so we have, of our 35 communities, every one of them does their own ambulance, or we dispatch their ambulance, whether it's two separate
Right.
departments or not, right? But we do the ambulance for all 35. We have one private ambulance private ambulance company in the district, and they do three, Marlboro, Meredith, Sun Amherst, 4 of the towns. So although they're not in the district,
But dispatch.
we still dispatch them for their towns, and they're one phone call, we tone them just like everybody else. They're expected to listen just like everybody else. We sent one of the private ambulances to Keene a few years ago when they had to evacuate the hospital. You know, so it does become difficult if we don't have the ambulance service, because then it just becomes cumbersome and not as streamlined as A, what we're used to, and B, what's for the benefit of the community.
I think it's up to the members to really discuss that
I think that's,
with you guys, you know.
Yeah, that's not my place to make that
Right.
decision.
yeah.
Sorry.
But I do know it's, the communication, some of them are not getting the call, like Heather's not getting the call at all,
That's where I understand,
so.
so that's.
That's one of the younger ladies on the department.
Yeah,
And I've got some other firefighters who are coming on who are also EMTs, so.
that's
We
important.
want them to reach out.
Communication is vital, so.
Yeah, that's why I'm pushing this, the communications, I mean, you can't, you receive the call. We had one was an incident with a case right there, now we're only a few weeks ago. 5 calls I didn't get,
Yeah, that's serious.
yeah.
That is. Well, we really appreciate you
Yeah,
coming
no,
out here.
happy to
Tom.
do it. Happy to do it. I'll work, like I said, I'll work with you, chief, on,
Yep.
I'll give you the 25. As soon as I have 26, I'll get you that. I have another community that is interested in coming on board 26. And I have 2 more that may be as well, but what that does is it's like, here's the number, but it's only as good as if one of those
Right.
other ones decide I'm coming on board, because then everybody's goes down, so.
So I would have one question before you left.
Sure.
This, how do you bill? How was your calendar year run?
So it's, it's a calendar year, just like everybody else.
No, don't say that,
Calendar year, and then,
because Hanover, bill, the calendar year runs out in the end of June.
so it's a fiscal year.
Yes.
So it's a calendar year, January through December. I don't know why, but we don't send the first. We don't send the invoice until typically right after voting day. And I don't know why. Some communities, I think, still run through warrant articles, which is ludicrous because it's too late for them to get
You're
out.
voting on the budget already. You're voting on the budget like almost 3 months after you.
Yeah, and
get to it,
if
so it's-
for some reason the community were to vote down a warrant article, and it's mostly Ellsworth, right? Ellsworth, I think, still does it. Some of the smaller towns, but the struggle is, and if Ellsworth, called us up and said we have to get out, they're not spending huge dollars, so it would be catastrophic, but no means no, you can't call me in March and say we're getting out this year. There's an out clause that's like a year old, you gotta give us a year.
Yeah, well, that's.
So I don't know why
that's fair.
people do that. To be fair, we also have a few communities that, although we bill in March, we have a few communities that we bill after July 1. For whatever reason, they run on a fiscal year. I've got one community that pays half pre-July and the other half after July. I don't know why they do that. Probably
Probably because of taxes they collect twice a year.
Right.
Maybe, and Bolton Borough just switched to a true fiscal year a couple years ago, and rather than budget at 18, I think they budgeted a 6-month budget instead of an 18-month budget. So they were one of those like half and half towns.
So how would that affect, with Grafton, where we would be, locked in with, Hanover until the end of June?
We would have to figure that out. So if you're locked in with Hanover to the end of June of 26, that gives us time, and we aim for July 1 of 26, which also means when I give you your number, you cut it in half. Because when I give you the number and it's for the year,
6 months.
but you're only gonna be there 6 months, you'd probably by default become one of those post-July 1 towns.
I didn't go with the contract with Hanover, just paying and that's it.
No, believe me, I've been on the budget committee
Right.
long enough, so I know these
I
are
don't know.
numbers.
I'd like to see that.
So the way we operate is you would join, blah, 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 you get on board. You have, I think it's 6 months you have to give us 6 months notice to get out. And if that 6 months goes into the next year, you owe for that whole year. So simply speaking, June 30th, you tell us you're out December 31st,
Right,
cool. July 1, you tell us you're out December 31st, the answer is no, it's January 1st, and you owe us the entire year, you might as well stay another year.
right.
Right, of course, when they built that, I didn't do it, but we don't wanna make it easy for people to get out,
Right.
right? And for a couple of reasons.
I like that.
It builds consistency across the organization.
I'd like to look at that contract because if we aren't getting the service that we need right now, we should be able to get out by end of the year. And
We just
December
have a-
But
31st.
then being is you go, vote on
Right, I
the money
understand that.
in March, so,
I'm just saying, what, no, if the budget would be about the same, but if we can get out December 31st,
Yeah, you definitely have to figure out if there's an out clause, what the out clause is, and tie that into, do you need to vote for the next year? Whatever, if there's an increase, whatever it is, when that takes place, no means no, all of those things, so you'll have to work together to figure that out, figure out what the best traction is for you.
like I said, my big concern is getting the firefighters out now.
I understand, but yeah, that's important.
Yeah, it'd be nice, I don't see it happening right now. I'll do it for you on the whole pricing and stuff.
Right, I have to get all the price and stuff, but I know Danbury pays 25,000 a year down there. You're all the same up this way, the population's about the same.
We're about the same,
Yeah,
give or take.
yeah.
Yeah, so I can ballpark it.
How's your equalized value, do you know? Is it similar to Danbury's? Like your assessed valuation?
We just got a reassessment, so,
yeah,
yeah, 100%.
Really?
yeah.
Good for you. Like 80. Wow. Yeah, so I mean, if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them. If not, we kind of both have some work to do and we can do it.
Okay, I think we're good for now.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you for coming.
Yep, no problem.
Cheryl? Sorry for going over. Sorry for going over your time.
So I reprinted her email and she needs to reread it. And the photos she had sent, I saved to my desktop, so if you wanna look at them, I can do that.
I have more.
Oh, okay.
Not really.
I do remember this email. Water on the road is always a problem. You gotta get rid of it.
It's not addressed, okay? Whatever.
Which culvert are you having issues with now?
The
That
same one.
That big one that
2+ years, yes.
has the big hole in it?
Oh, yes.
They had it.
It was kinda like a swimming hole here.
Well,
Yeah,
with
it's
two
pretty
good
deep,
kids
yeah.
next door, yeah.
I went and I looked at the culvert and I looked at the hole, but that's all I've seen.
Well, it's not much of a hole at this point.
It's probably filled in, they put some riprap in there,
I
I
have
think.
the road on my property now. It's all poured on my
That's
property.
where all the material went.
That's for all the material, if you want it back, come get it, it's all yours. So I guess my issue is I worked with Ed on this, and I gave him permission to go on my property with my brother, who did all the site work, who knows that land like the back of his hand. And my brother came up with a plan as to how to divert the water when there's major flooding. It's not the spring. And I don't understand why, where my property's posted, when you two went on my property, nobody called and said, hey, Cheryl, we're going on your property to look it over, do you want to come? Does Charlie want to come? Because we know our land pretty good, we've had it since the 90s, so we know the layout. Nobody contacted me, you guys just went on and decided that the spring was what was causing the problem. The spring is not what's causing the problem, it's a small spring that goes from under a tree, which we've worked a little trail for it to go. If you look at the photos that I sent, the culvert washes down. Bassett, going back, Bassett made this huge, like 30-foot swath without asking. Sometimes you pay when your brother's body and they don't get one. And then Jeff came along and he dug at least 15, if more, not more feet of culvert. He cut down a tree. Nobody contacted me. It was almost 5 foot deep. I stood in the middle of it, and I'm 5 foot 2 3/4. Very important. And it was like kind of like about up to here. Like I said, there are kids next door, and at points that was filled with water. It fills up, then it flows, and then it goes down, and it meets where my spring is. But if you looked at it, and if you had invited me to come and give you a tour, the silt tour, you would see where it washes down the hill and then it joins where the spring is. So trees have dropped, and you could see in the pictures, although someone's telling you trees are not dropping, trees have dropped and were cut down. Nothing was done without my permission. Now my forest land on that side is just covered in road. It's covered in road silt. It's where he dug that big hole, that's all full of road. It's all full of road. And it's just washing one way in my forest and the other way in my forest. And I'm not too happy about it at all.
So your brother came up with a plan to mitigate this problem?
Yes, and the issue is that Jeff was still gonna do the work. And at that point, I had talked to Jeff multiple times, and he was just jerking me, for lack of a
Well, I don't know if he ever intended to
He
do
was,
the job.
he was jerking me. I mean, I would go down and talk to him, and he'd say, yeah, I'm gonna take care of it, when it said it's so deep and there's kids and it's a hazard, I'm gonna take care of it. And the only thing he did was back in on the side and created a new avenue for water with his tires. And there was like one of those cones there for about 3 months, and then that disappeared, but it was never finished. So now I have 3 culverts and a new avenue to collect water. Part of the agreement was that the culverts were going to be maintained up the road, because that was part of the problem, is that they were never maintained. So I'm taking everything that comes from up by Kitty's old place, down and around, and it's washing into my property. So I didn't need to know why I wasn't invited on this walk.
Okay.
And to answer those questions would be great.
Okay, first question, why did we even walk the property? We didn't. We looked at the culvert. Cause last time I was up there, it was when Jeffrey had the pole. And I had to go tell Jeffrey you need to fill that in, cause there's kids up the stairs.
Where did the spring part come in?
It's the water that's going off that, you can see the water running off that, where he filled, down the old roadway.
Right, that's not a spring, that's from the road, that's not a spring. if
That's coming from the culvert.
that is coming from the culvert,
Yes.
and it's washing down over to where my actual spring is, that comes out from underneath the tree.
I never saw that tree until I saw the pictures. Sam and I never walked the property.
Well, it would've been good if you invited one of us, my husband
I
and
just went up to
I.
look at the,
But wouldn't it
culvert.
be good to really see what's going on, the damage that's going on? I mean, it's forked and going in two different directions. I mean,
Have you been out?
the same, the
Yes.
next,
it's come up there
the
many
next,
times.
the next question is just a reiteration of the one previous one. The next question is the same reiteration of the previous two questions. And these are all the same reiteration, the same question. And when I questioned them about this meeting, they did look away and shout next. That meeting, you were in public comment time, we weren't in discussion time.
I'd like to, as a taxpayer, let's just start off from the last thing. As a taxpayer of multiple properties in this town, I'd like a little more respect than me being told, we're not gonna do anything. The last time I talked, Ed had written up a proposal. There's a proposal, and also I go from a proposal